once you were established there, how did you really get involved with basically UFO disinformation?
Well, I was assigned to Kirtland Air Force Base in Albuquerque, New Mexico. At that time in the late 70s, the unit I was assigned to was District 17, the Air Force Office of Special Investigations. And I had occasion to investigate something that occurred on the base. At that time, I wasn't briefed into any of the programs involving UFOs or ETs. Because of this investigation that I was doing, which occurred out in a classified area of the base, I had to be briefed into this program. So I went to the Air Force Special Security Office. There were things I had to fill out, forms, approvals that was done by my supervisors. And then I went and got a briefing. And that's how I got into it. I was given a high-level security briefing, which meant that I had access to highly classified information regarding the U.S. government's program, where they had contacts with ET races and what they knew about the UFOs. And that's how I got into it.
Now, how did you react to this debriefing of learning that UFOs and extraterrestrials exist? Did you believe in that stuff before you started doing this?
No, absolutely not. I had no earthly ideas about the subject of UFOs. All during my training, my counterintelligence training, my counterespionage training, the OSI Academy, the subject of UFOs or ETs were never mentioned. There were never any courses involved that I received. And then when I sat in a room with other intelligence officers and a Air Force colonel showed us a film regarding the recovery of the Roswell craft, showing a movie, and this is an old movie on a 16 millimeter projector. Of course, this is 1978, and I see craft and ET bodies. This film depicted President Truman being at the scene. And then subsequently, we were briefed by another person regarding what we knew, what the United States government knew about ET and ETs visiting Earth. I was surprised. I sat there wondering if this was real, if what they were telling us was really information or whether it was some sort of a rouse against us. But they thoroughly convinced me and everybody else in that room was what they were showing us was real, because it was very difficult for anyone to fake what they were showing us, especially the information they gave us and the documents that we were reading. When I left that office, the briefing took about an hour and a half, maybe a little bit more. I got into my government vehicle and I was driving from the west side of Kirtland Air Force Base, where the briefing occurred, to my office, which was on the east side of the base. And I had to pull over the side of the road at one point, and I just sat in the vehicle and contemplated what I had just received, and wondering again if this was still all true. I mean, it was like a dream in a way, because I'd never heard of UFOs. I mean, I've heard of UFOs, but I never was interested in it. Never had an inkling to further obtain knowledge about it. So I finished, went back up to my office. My supervisor, who had been briefed into the same program, I went into his office and sat down, and he said, "Well, what do you think?" I said, "Astonishing." That's my word. That's the word I said. He said, "Yeah, same word I used."
Yeah.
So at that point on, most of my training, most of my work, investigative activities centered around any kind of incidents involving UFOs. Now, you mentioned disinformation. You're not going to find disinformation in any military manuals. It's not disinformation, it's counterintelligence operations. So the first case I handled was probably somewhat so classified, I'm not going to talk about. The second case was also somewhat classified. It involved a sighting of a UFO over a nuclear weapon storage area. I investigated that. And then the third case was the Paul Benowitz case.